welcome to Crushing Kayfabe. My name is Jason Garish. Thank you so much for tuning in. I don't even know where to start because there's so much going on. And I'm not even going to be able to cover a small portion of what's going on in the wrestling world. Let's start off with the whole CM Punk thing. Now, before Collision in Chicago, Tony Khan had released a statement, and he actually sat down in front of the audience in the rampway and announced that CM Punk was terminated. He gave an interesting little speech about why he decided to do what he did and whatnot. So many things are just so troubling about this whole thing. Unfortunately, we don't know all the facts about the occurrence that happened during All In. We kind of pieced together what we have, but nobody still has really confirmed who actually started the whole confrontation between Punk and Jack Perry. I mean, what Jack Perry did on the air was wrong. The discrepancies in the different tales is where the person who initiated it, did Punk initiate the contact backstage, or did Jack Perry? I mean, what Jack Perry did on air was wrong. From what I understand, he was told from not just Punk, but from various other sources from within the company in a managerial role, not to use real glass in his in anything, in his promos and in his match, whatever. When he made the statement, about it being real glass, all that during the All In event, which was AEW's largest live event. If you believe their numbers, they say that it's 80,000 in attendance. I don't know. I've heard actually over 90,000 in attendance. I don't know if that's true or not. I found it incredibly hard to believe. I know that Tony Khan had comped a number of tickets, but not that many. I still would like to see actual numbers that are substantiated by AEW on that. Getting back to the incident, though, we are told that not only did an altercation between them occurred, it's questionable whether or not the actual shoulder check from Jack Perry occurred, or whether or not Punk actually just got in his face. That's what's in question. From my knowledge, Tony Khan had witnessed the whole event. I don't know why he had to go through an entire investigation and go to an independent committee and all that nonsense. But he did, because he just didn't have the guts to make the right decision, I guess, or make a decision, I should say. If, as reported by various sources, if Punk did fly at Tony Khan and threaten him, absolutely, I believe he should have been fired. You should never do that to your boss or anyone within the company. If Jack Perry initiated contact with CM Punk, I believe he should be fired. I'm sorry. That's a huge question right there. Like I said, right now, the best of my knowledge, he's suspended indefinitely. At least that's what AEW is announcing to the public. And the thing about AEW, which is so much different than WWE, is the fact that AEW is not a publicly owned company. It's a privately owned company. So they can pretty much tell you whatever they want. They don't have to hold to a standard by shareholders. They aren't hold to the public opinion, kind of like WWE is, where excuse me, where a lot of things have to be much more transparent. Just legally, things have to be transparent, and for sake of the price of the stock for the shareholders, things have to be transparent. AEW doesn't have to do that, so they can pretty much release whatever they want, fact or fiction. Do I think Punk wanted out? Very likely. Very likely. I think he wanted out. And it's quite possible, too, that that Tony Khan and him actually came to an agreement. I find it hard to believe, though, that in 30 years of Tony Khan going to events that this is the first time he ever felt his life or well-being threatened, or any of his employees. I seriously doubt that. That's kind of questionable. Not to mention, he's been involved with the Jacksonville Jaguars organization for a very long time. So I think that might be questionable, but I'll take him for his word. Whatever. Like I said, if Punk did do what is said in these allegations, yes, he should have been fired. Does it break my heart? Absolutely. I am waiting to hear Punk's side of the story. Supposedly, reports have leaked that he is going to issue some kind of statement or whatnot, and I'm very anxious to hear that, because I think he'll be truthful in that. I might not agree with him, but I think he'll be truthful in his statement. I haven't encountered any situation where Punk has been untruthful or anything. I mean, yes, I am a fan of his, very much so, but still, I'll call BS when I see it. But I have yet to see him really say anything that wasn't truthful. Has he blown things out of proportion? Absolutely. Has he, said some things which I didn't agree with? Absolutely. But I think the guy is, is at least, what's the word I'm looking for? Is at least honest. Let's put it that way, in that sense. So I don't think he'll come out with a false statement or anything. I think that anything that he does happen to say is going to be truthful, which is more than what I can say for Tony Khan, because he's been caught in the past not being the most truthful. I mean, I do have to commend Tony Khan on some things. I mean, he's a horrible booker, a horrible businessman in some ways, but he's also been very fair to his employees as far as things like personal matters go. I mean, the releasing of William Regal to be with his son, to be with his family, is very admirable. The whole handling of the Brody Lee situation was absolutely perfect, I thought, and very well done. The tribute was amazing. He did something that I don't feel like a giant corporation could do, and I think they kind of showed the way for what WWE did as a tribute to Bray Wyatt, because they did really raise the bar for the standard for a tribute show and what a tribute to a person's life should be. I strongly commend AEW and Tony Khan on that particular aspect of their organization. Brilliantly done, very well done. How they've handled other things, not so much. That doesn't mean he's a bad person. That doesn't mean they're a bad company. I'm just saying the booking, handling of other situations, the initial handling of Punk's interaction with the Elite was mishandled, I felt. So, like I said, there's some things to be commended, some things that need to be changed within the organization. Especially now that basically Collision was CM Punk's show. And it was an excellent show. It was the best show that AEW had going, I think. Despite the numbers, despite Dynamite being their flagship program, I still thoroughly enjoyed Collision a lot more. I thought it was much more cohesive, much more succinct, and better, just overall better booked, better production, better organization of content. Just I liked some of the throwback things that they did. I liked the whole promos in the beginning of the show. I thought it was very well done. In essence, in comparison to, let's say, Dynamite or Rampage, which is kind of a dumpster fire at this point, even though, like I mentioned, Dynamite is their flagship program. So they really need to continue that. I know that Tony Khan has expressed that he has a lot of faith in Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. I hope they continues to do that, and I would love to see him head up Collision. If they're not going to have Punk, I'd love to see him head up the show. I think that would be a great choice. Keep the format, please. Keep the style booking, please, because it's working. I mean, what they've done with Miro, who his wife CJ made an appearance this weekend. So they're kind of continuing that storyline. I like that. I haven't. If I could speak properly, sorry. I haven't had an opportunity to watch that, but I'm excited about that. I hope they continue along the lines. I hope that the quality does not diminish now that Punk is no longer part of the organization. Will Punk return to WWE? I know he's mended a lot of fences. I seriously doubt they're going to do that. I hate to say that because there is a stigma attached to Punk now because of this. Whether he was at fault or not, there's still that stigma, and I can't see a publicly owned company latching onto someone like Punk. Would I love to see him? Yeah, of course. I really do. I'm a huge Punk fan. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Would I love to see him show up and say the Rumble, like I think was what he wanted to do or intended to not last year, I should say 2 years ago. I would enjoy that a lot. Obviously some things would need to change. He can't go getting into altercations, obviously. WWE runs a much tighter ship. And that's why I say, because of the stigma, I seriously doubt that they will allow him back into the company. I can't see it happening. I'm sorry. Like I said, would I find it entertaining? Would I enjoy it? Yeah. What brings another kind of fly in the ointment, though, another monkey wrench into things, there are some very strong rumors, very persistent, very strong rumors from reliable sources that AJ Lee might be returning to WWE. How this plays out with Punk, I don't know. I would imagine he would make some kind of appearance at some point. I really do. I can't imagine him not showing up somehow on WWE television, whether that's as a regular wrestler or just kind of to make little cameo appearances. I don't know. Don't know, like I said. But it does appear as if there's a very strong likelihood that AJ Lee is going to resurface in WWE. I mean, I'm all for that. I think she'd contribute greatly to the women's division right now. I think she'd be great for it. I think it'd be awesome. Great wrestler, great promo, great look. Just great worker. She would contribute greatly to the product right now, and I think she'd be a very welcome addition and a kick in the pants to the women's division. I think it would make the women's division in WWE much more watchable. I really do. It would create some great feuds that we haven't seen before. Bianca Belair versus her, Charlotte Flair versus her. Becky Lynch versus her. The list goes on. We could really create some great dynamics. Having her interact with Raquel Rodriguez. I don't know. Great. It would be great to see. And like I said, getting back to the whole beginning of this conversation, topic of this conversation, if Jack Perry was the one who initiated the initial contact between him and Punk, he should be fired also. Most definitely, The sad thing is, the sad thing and the good thing, I guess, too, it's kind of a double-edged sword, is that these type of things happen much more often in in wrestling years ago. If you look at wrestling 50 years ago, this type of thing always occurred, and it just didn't get publicized because there was kayfabe, and there wasn't everyone with cameras and internet access and phones back then, so you didn't get to hear about all this stuff happening. But altercations, discrepancies, disputes always happen. And I mean, back in the Attitude Era, that was one of the Undertaker's purposes. He would serve as kind of a judge and jury for the wrestler's court. So you would not have interactions like this as often. If you had a strong figurehead in AEW, you could have them step in and kind of be that Undertaker figure. But I was hoping Punk would be that individual. But when you have handcuffed him and you have EVPs within the company that are very negative towards him and don't want to see him succeed, and for stupid reasons, because he is your biggest draw, or was your biggest draw, I should say. If anything, I'd love to see the Young Bucks gone. And I wonder, I speculate whether or not the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and that whole Elite faction was part of the reason why Cody Rhodes left in the first place. And Cody Rhodes, that's another point I'd like to make. If Cody Rhodes was there during this whole thing with CM Punk, would this have happened? I don't think it would have. I think there would have been an individual within the company with a higher rank who is level-headed and clear-minded, who would have been able to resolve this situation before it blew way out of control. The atmosphere, obviously, in AEW is very toxic. If you're not in with the Elite, you're not gonna do well. You're not gonna be accepted within the company, and it's not good. It's not good. These guys. I've already said my piece about the Young Bucks in the past. I just think they're poisonous to the organization. I really do. And if anything, Tony Khan should have never extended their contract. Should not have, re-signed their contract. I think they should let them go. I'm sorry, because I think they do a lot more harm than good, and I don't think they're doing well for the booking. And one of the things that troubles me so much about AEW is, one, Tony Khan doesn't put the proper people in authority positions. You've got Arn Anderson, you've got Sting, you've got Chris Jericho, you had CM Punk, you've got all these people that have had massive amounts of experience, Bryan Danielson, that are not being put to good use within the company, and not structuring the company in a manner that can resolve these types of situations. And even if it's even if you put one individual in charge of an organization this size, because their roster is huge, it's gigantic. Even if you put an Arn Anderson, blah blah blah, just if you put one person in charge, results are gonna be similar, because you just don't have the structure and the time. People are being spread way too thin. Chris Jericho is spread way too thin, because he has to be kind of a locker room leader, and he's doing his Fozzy thing, he's doing his outside thing, he's doing his podcast, and Jericho's spread way too thin. He can't be that individual, and I don't know if I trust him to be that individual. I like Jericho a lot, but sometimes I feel like even he's trying to work everybody sometimes. Like I said, I'm a Jericho fan, but I don't know if he fits in that role. He has a great mind for the business, obviously. He wouldn't have lasted this long. And he's a very intelligent individual, but he's a couple years older than me, and I think he's at the stage of his career where he's looking at, just want to make my money and kind of go, live out my midlife crisis and do this thing, kind of thing. He's out there rocking out with Fozzy, he's out there touring the world. He doesn't need to be in squabbles with 20-something-year-olds, And the people that he's aligned themselves, people like Sammy Guevara, I think, is very telling also, because Guevara has extremely immature in the way he handles a lot of things. So he's kind of come off as a problem too. So you kind of look at the cornerstones of this company. The only one, the only ones I really have much respect for are MJF and Darby. So like I said, you've got to put some kind of structure within there that's has a hierarchy. Khan, even if he was competent enough to be able to book everything and address all these situations, is only one man. There's only one person, and he's being pulled in way too many different directions to be able to adequately handle situations. And I know it's like to be in situations where you've got way too many things getting thrown at you. You kind of, in your head, you prioritize things and you kind of push off certain other things. CM Punk's our big star. He's our big draw. I'll put him in charge of Collision, separate him. And that wasn't good enough, So we'll see. Like I said, I'm very interested, very anxious to see the what Punk has to say. Well, in addition to that, I could talk for hours on the whole dumpster fire that is AEW, but I mean, we've got All Out that happened. We got Payback that happened. We got a whole lot of stuff, and unfortunately, I'm not gonna have enough time to really cover that. Seth is still champion. Judgment Day has now taken the belts off of Sami and Kevin Owens, so we have new champions there. I like it. I like the idea of having them with the belts. I like it. It was a fun match. I like the little tribute, the Terry Funk tribute that Kevin Owens had, and then I like them coming out later on with the Pittsburgh Penguins jerseys, and I like the 66 Mario Lemieux jersey. I absolutely love that. I popped big time for that because that's my favorite hockey player of all time. And when I played hockey and when I played paintball, I wore 66. That was always my number, was 66. So seeing him come out with a Mario Lemieux a jersey was a big time pop for me. I really enjoyed that thoroughly. Good pay-per-view. Payback was a pretty good pay-per-view, pretty solid. Not too much downtime. I mean, even the Becky Lynch Trish Stratus match was good. Everything all around was pretty, pretty solid. And I can't say a whole lot about that negatively. It was a pretty decent pay-per-view for a pay-per-view that I didn't expect a whole lot of, and maybe that's part of the reason why I enjoyed it as much. I like the build that they did with Shinsuke being this killer, and I like the build up for that. So, and the pay-per-view that featured one of the Bloodline, kind of, sort of. Cody did bring Jay back out there, so big pop for him and whatnot. So Jay's back officially, quote unquote, and we'll see where that all leads to. I think we're just biding time for Cody to get that belt off of Roman Reigns. I really do. And like I said, we had All Out, which I watched the speech that Tony Khan gave before Collision. I watched little portions of it. Like I said, CJ's back with Miro. We'll see how that goes. That's interesting, at least, because to be honest with you, the firing of Punk, I'm almost at the point where I really have lost interest in AEW quite a bit. And if I do watch it, I mean, already Dynamite. I've stopped watching Rampage. I was watching Dynamite and Collision, and Dynamite every week still felt like a job watching it. I just watched it for you guys, for the show, basically. That was it. So, because I found very little enjoyment, unfortunately, out of it. The only thing, as far as that I enjoyed, was the MJF and Adam Cole segments, which they still have the belts. And looking at my time, unfortunately, I'm running out of time. I only have about 4 minutes left, so I'm going to get the plugs in and thank everybody for tuning in. Like I said, I wish it was better circumstances doing the show. I really wish that the whole situation with Punk was resolved, but it isn't, and the future is going to see where all of that leads to. So if you get a chance and you're in Western Tennessee, please do me a favor. Please check out the Then Now Flea Market. they just had their anniversary. I just performed there, so that was a good time. But we've got our handmade goods on there. My wife does handmade goods. She paints. She does various crafts, and they're for sale there. So check out Then and Now. As soon as I can, I'll be getting more CDs down there. Hopefully, very soon. Hopefully, I'll complete this recording process with the new CD. That 99% of the CD is recorded. Well, probably close to 90 because there are 2 tracks that I need drum tracks on, and then I need to mix and master everything and get the graphics worked out and whatnot. So we'll be seeing that hopefully soon. Hopefully, I know I've said that a million times, but hopefully. But yeah, check Then Now out. Check out crushingkayfabe.com, crushing with a K. Check us out on patreon.com, where you can actually subscribe to the podcast for $1 a month, and you will not get any ads on it. So you get the audio and the video ad-free, which is really cool, and you'll be helping me out, help keep these lights on and whatnot. And, once again, pray for the people in the Ukraine. Give to legitimate organizations, help them out. And, hey, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. God bless, okay?